Hey everybody, welcome back to Welch's Math Class. We are so glad to be with you today, and I knew you were going to come see me on this problem. This one tends to give people a little bit of a fit. We are into a little bit of geometry now in Module 7. We had some measurements, now we're into geometry in Module 7. And what they're asking us to do is find the missing angle measurements, right here. They tell us that angle ABC measures 40 degrees. Okay, so ABC is this angle here. This is 40 degrees. Okay, so let's put that down. All right, and they tell us that angle GBF is 80 degrees. Angle GBF is 80 degrees right there. So I think it's really useful if you, on your own paper, pull out a piece of paper and actually draw that figure out. And and to draw it, I'll give you a little hand with that. The easiest way to draw it is to draw a straight line and then draw an X in that line. And that'll give you a good representation of what that figure looks like. And maybe even, you can put in your letters if you like, or maybe even to keep it simpler, you could just call this angle 1, you could call this angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, angle 6, just to kind of keep that simple without all those letters there. Because you know that ABC right here corresponds to 1 here, so of course that's 40, and we'll put that angle 5 as 80. And so writing this on your paper, I think it's really important that you can actually see this on your paper so that you can do your measurements, and then you can work from that. And as you're finding the measures, CBD is the same as what you get on your paper here for number 2. DBE is what you get for number 3, and so on. All right, so I think that's a good approach, that you actually draw the figure right on your paper and start filling in those numbers. You can see things much easier that way for how the angles are going to go. Got a couple of really important principles we want to lock into here as far as geometry goes. First of all, the fact that opposite angles are going to be equal to one another. Now, what do we mean by opposite angles? Okay, so if we go back to our original figure, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different angles here, and some are opposite others. A real clear opposite angle is this bottom GBF, or in this one 5, is opposite this top right here of CBD, or in this one 2. So this angle is opposite this angle. This angle right here is what I would call on the bottom in the center, and of course this is on the top in the center. So what we know from opposite angles are equal is that this angle equals this angle, so we can go ahead and fill in 80 degrees right there. All right. Now also opposite angles, we also have this 40, and I wonder what the opposite angle for the 40 degrees is here. It's either going to be this or this. Well, let's think about this for a second. This 40-degree angle is a upper angle, upper on the left. So its opposite would be a lower on the right. So here's the opposite angle. All right, so 40 here. Okay, so we've got a couple of answers right out of the gate now, and that we were able to get this opposite angle, we're able to get this opposite angle. Okay, so now what we're missing are these two. Now these two are opposites, and we don't know either one, so we're kind of stuck there as far as that goes. So that's going to take us actually to the second principle. We want to look at. That being, straight angles measure 180 degrees. Straight angles measure 180 degrees. Let me give you an example of a straight angle. I just come right here. Now, of course, that's a straight line, but that's also a straight angle. And if you measure the straight line, it measures out at 180 degrees. Okay? So in other words, this straight line right here, coming all the way over here, all the way across from here to here, that's 180 degrees. Now, that means that this angle plus this angle plus this angle will equal 180. So if I'm looking for E, not E, but DBE, if I'm looking for that, then what I can do is I can say that 180 minus 80 plus 40, or 120, and I'll see that this angle is 60 degrees then. It'll be 60 degrees. 180 minus 120, 60 degrees. Now that I have this one, I can go to its opposite right here and say that this one is also 60. So we've got a couple of major principles that we use here to help us kind of work our way through this puzzle to find out what the measure of the angles are. First is opposite angles are equal to each other, straight angles altogether equal 180. All right, now let's see if we can make some sense out of all this and put it in here. CBD. CBD, 80, right there. Okay? DBE, DBE, right here, 60 degrees. EBF, EBF, here, 40 degrees. And finally, GBA, GBA, right here, 60 degrees. So, problem's not nearly as difficult as it appears when you first look at it, as long as you've got a couple of things. First, make sure you draw it out on your paper so you can fill in these numbers. It'll be much easier to see if you actually see it on your paper. And then, secondly, understand these principles, that what they give you, the opposite angles are equal one another, okay, and that straight angles altogether make 180 degrees, and that these three together, this plus this plus this, had to be 180, and that's where we got 180 minus the 80 and 40. I think you got it. It's so good to see you. I want you to pop back into your practice now and work this problem, do a couple of similar exercises so you get comfortable with it. Make sure you grab hold of those key principles that we got out of geometry right here as well. And I will see you next time.